What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome to the Wholesale Hotline pre-show. If this is your guys' first time tuning in, my name is Bryce Herrera, and we are going to be talking all things driving for dollars. And we're going to be hopping on here every pre-show. We're going to be talking about other people's success from driving for dollars using the BatchDriven app. So we're going to let a few more people hop on, and then we're going to hop into this thing. But it looks like we got some TTP students in here. Good to have you guys here. Before we get started, guys, I want to know who in here hasn't done their first deal. And I want to also know what market you guys are in, right? Because that's the whole point of this show. We want you guys to squad up. We want you guys doing deals together. We even want you guys driving for dollars together. So in the comments, let me know who hasn't done their first deal and let me know what market you guys are in. Alex says he's from Austin, Texas. If you guys are from Austin, Texas, make sure you're squatting up with Alec. Robin Hurt, good to see you here. Washington State. Awesome, Robin. Good to have you guys here. So you're not Pace. What have you done with Pace? So we are hosting the pre-show, and what we're going to be talking about is driving for dollars. So for those of you that don't know me, I actually work on Pace's acquisition team. And the reason why I was able to get onto Pace's team was because I took action, right? I started driving for dollars, and I actually partnered up with Pace and Cody, and I actually brought them one of the deals. So because I was taking consistent action, because they saw that I was using the BatchDriven app, they decided to hire me on here full time. So I was actually part of the acquisition team, and I was calling warm to hot leads. So I've done some wholesale deals. I've done some creative finance deals. I've done, seller finance or subject to. So that's why I'm on here. I got promoted to kind of push, BatchDriven app and to show you guys the possibilities is if you just take action, right? So that's what we're going to be covering today is, if you haven't gotten your first deal, a great way for you guys to actually get started is to drive for dollars. So that's what we're going to highlight today. If you guys have never seen me on here, we actually go live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the BatchDriven YouTube. So if you guys are looking to get started driving for dollars, I actually go live, like I said, every single day, 4:30 p.m. to answer all of your guys' questions. And also, guys, if you're looking to get started, what you guys can do is follow me on Instagram, right, at BatchDriven app on Instagram. So if you guys have questions about driving for dollars, make sure that you guys hop on there, and I'll be sure to reply to you guys. I don't mind hopping on phone calls with you or actually taking you out in the field to drive for dollars. So let me go through the comments here and see where you guys are tuning in from. In Northwest Invest, I'm just messing with you. I understand. Awesome. So it looks like Javier, I'm driving for dollars and have a VA cold calling to pre-qualify. That's what we're actually doing now. So I'm actually going out to the field, and that's why I want you guys to follow along on Instagram, right? I'm actually documenting my day. I'm making a minimum of 10 posts every single day, and I'm showing you guys the houses that I am actually adding to my list. We're giving you guys scripts, everything that you need to do to get your first deal. So awesome. Take action and don't have the shiny object syndrome, which is actually what we're going to talk about here in the upcoming minutes. Awesome, guys. So we got quite a few people hopping on. Got some Philadelphia, awesome San Diego, TTP, New Jersey. Awesome, guys. Kelly says, Bryce, I love him. Kelly, miss you. Not yet. Virginia. Awesome. So guys, a great way for you guys to actually get started in this business is driving for dollars. So let's see who else is squatting up in the comments. I want you guys doing deals together. Understand that? Just started last week, still working on my first deal. Awesome. So this is going to be a great episode for you to actually learn. I mean, driving for dollars it's not rocket science. It's super easy to do. If you just take action, you stay consistent, that deal is going to come your way. So today we're actually going to show you some of the properties that I added to my driving for dollars folder and what I'm looking for when I'm driving for dollars. Okay, so we're going to hop into that. I'm actually going to share my screen with you guys. And then hopefully next week, we're going to have, some other people that have done deals together, or done deals driving for dollars, and we're going to have them hop on, and we're going to pretty much just dissect their business, what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. Awesome. So Nora, we are actually going to cover this. So Nora, I believe, is a sub-2 student as well. She's actually coming driving for dollars with me personally. So if you guys are in Phoenix and you want to come drive for dollars with me personally, just message me on Instagram at BatchDriven app, and I will be sure to send you a Calendly link. Awesome, guys. So I'm going to share my screen here, and then I'm going to show you guys kind of what I was targeting, what I was looking for before I added some of these properties to my driving for dollars list. So let me share my screen here. Awesome. So this is going to be the first neighborhood. When you're driving for dollars, guys, this is all done on the BatchDriven app. So if you haven't already, if you go to batchdriven.com/squad up, that's going to give you a 7-day free trial and 50 free skip traces, right? So this is going to be what I do every single night before I go to bed, is I'm going to pick out what neighborhoods that I'm going to drive for dollars in, right? So that question comes up quite often, is where do I drive for dollars? How do I know where to get started? So I would say the first thing that you guys need to do is talk to your cash buyers, right? Talk to them and say, hey, if I go driving for dollars, what neighborhoods or what zip codes are you buying in? And they're going to give you a list of important neighborhoods that you need to start driving for dollars in, right? So another cool thing that I want you guys to do is go on the aerial view, and you can actually find non-HOA neighborhoods, right? So this is going to be an area that has a lot of trash in the backyards. Maybe there's some junk, you can actually tell by the roof as well. You'll see some houses, some neighborhoods that have a bunch of tarps. So this is actually the first neighborhood that I chose. And what's important to understand is you don't want to just bet all options on one neighborhood. For me, I try to hit 50 houses every single day. So I knew that I was not going to hit the 50 houses in this one neighborhood. So I actually had 3. I had 3 backup neighborhoods just so I was driving for dollars efficiently, and I knew exactly where I was going. So this is what the neighborhood looked like before I actually went out in the field. Added about 23 properties just in this little area, and then I ended up getting the additional houses in the other neighborhoods. So let me go back here, and then I'm going to show you guys some of the houses that I added. So stay tuned for that. Share it again. And if you guys have questions as far as driving for dollars, make sure you're adding those, in the comments, so I can be sure to add them when we're done. So I always recommend, when you're driving for dollars, make it fun. Go out there with your friends and family and actually start driving for dollars. And you want to turn it into, a time for you to listen to maybe a podcast. So I listen to a podcast every single day when I'm driving for dollars. You just want to be, as efficient as possible, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So this is actually the podcast that I listened today. This was only 25 minutes. So I also listened to one of my audiobooks. And then you guys can see every Monday, this is kind of directly towards the sub-2.
That's a great podcast. That is a great podcast there, brother.
Right. I love it. So each Monday, guys, this pretty much directs directly to the sub-2 students because we're doing the 1-door away challenge. And I can talk about that later if you guys are interested. I want you guys to create a driving for dollars list every single Monday, right? Every single Monday, you're going to create a folder so that you're adding these ugly properties into this folder, right? So I always do that. And then, that question comes up like, how do I know where to drive for dollars? If you're actually driving for dollars, you're going to see areas where people are buying fix and flips, right? So this is an obvious area that I want to be driving for dollars in. You guys can see here, there's going to be dumpsters. There's going to be brand new windows. This is a cash investor that already picked up this property. Okay, so that's going to be one thing that you guys need to look for, is an area where cash investors are buying in that neighborhood. And also, before you're adding these properties to your driving for dollars list, guys, there's going to be 4 different things that you look for before you add it to your property, right? So the first thing that you're going to look for is landscape, right? Are the weeds overgrown? Is it dead grass? And then the second thing is going to be the exterior distress, right? So does it need paint? Are the windows broken? Are the windows boarded up? And then the third thing that you're going to want to look for is the roof, right? Does the roof have holes in it? Does it have a tarp on it? That sort of thing. And then the fourth thing, and this is probably going to be the most obvious, is, broken down cars and junk on the side of the house, right? So this one hits 2 or more pillars. You can see that there's not even any shingles on this house. So that's why I added this one to my driving for dollars list. So it has to hit 2 or more pillars before you add it there. And then this one here, this is in Mesa, Arizona. And you guys can see here, terrible landscape. And then on the side of the house, there were some broken down cars. So this is someone that I want to get in contact with. This is someone that could benefit from a cash offer. Okay, third one, same thing. You can see the broken down car, has a tarp on it, and terrible landscape. So again, this is someone that I want to get in contact with, and I want to see if they'd be open to it.
You know what's beautiful about this one? Can you go back to that real quick? I love this picture that you put on here. Oh, that one's great. But zoom in a little bit on this, because this is very interesting. So right away, I would assume that this is probably a rental property. And the reason I say that is at some point, somebody put a new roof and a new garage door on there, right? And somebody has let go of the landscaping. It's probably a rental that's been around 2 or 3 years. You're always looking for little signs. What is the improvements that they've done versus what is the wear and tear that's going on with this property? So I'm thinking about the psychology of the owner of this property. If he or she were to drive by, right, and be like, what is going on with my house? I've had this, right? I've been like, what is going on here? I've been away from this property for like 112 days and now it looks crazy, right? And then all of a sudden you start getting little notices, little warnings from the city or the neighborhood services department in your community saying, hey, you got to clean this up. Hey, you got to clean this up. Yep. The other thing that I wanted to mention is look where the trash cans are located. Okay. They're in front of the garage door. I'm almost thinking that whoever was there is not there anymore. They might have up and left here and just left the stuff, put away. Maybe the neighbors put away their trash cans. Maybe they just live like that. But typically the trash cans would be out of the way of that garage door. So there's a lot. When you popped up this picture, I thought it was absolutely beautiful because this is really, really, really solid. What I would look at is I would go and I would look for when did the owner buy this property and how much equity do they have? Was this a flip that was just done 2 or 3 years ago that they used as a rental, or is this a property that's going to have a nice, big, juicy amount of equity? And you can start reaching out to those homeowners and having those conversations and saying, hey, listen, I don't know if you know what's going on with this property, but I drove by it today and it looks like it's going to need some work. I'd love to see if you would consider a cash offer on your property, and then just go from there, right?
Boom. Yep. Super simple. KISS. Yep. Keep it super simple. Right. And then this one is actually going to be, we've actually talked to this seller, but it's crazy to think that, houses are actually looking like this and you can't find them until you start driving for dollars. Right. So this is, a perfect property. Unfortunately, this one, I believe, was already locked up by, someone else. But, you have to go out there, you have to take action, you have to add, properties that look like this, properties that look like the previous slides to your driving for dollars list, right? Because at the end of the day, these people have 2 options. They either have to fix it up themselves or they're going to benefit from a cash offer.
Yeah. So the beautiful thing here is obviously this is fire damage, right? So when you've got fire damage on a property, now you're dealing with the insurance company. How much is the insurance company going to give that homeowner? Typically the homeowner's looking to get the land value out of it. You know what I mean? You're going to have to bulldoze that property. It's going to have to be scraped. That's probably anywhere from $500 to $8,500 to get that all removed and scraped. So there's an added cost there. there, the owners are already getting the replacement costs for this property. Now they have to decide, do I want to go through the process of completely fixing up this property again and living here? Do I want to stay here? Do I have bad memories because everything that I own just burnt up in here? You know what I mean? Like, and then you decide what you want to do. Are you going to take the insurance money and the money that you're going to get for the lot? And are you going to just take that and just be done with the property and go buy something else? So that's an important thing. And remember, if there's loans on these properties, so the liens all have to get paid off. Everything has to be taken care of. And then there's a net to the owner, and the net is what the owner would use to purchase their next property. So typically with this, make sure that you're having a conversation of when they're going to get their insurance money, because that timeline really starts screwing with you. If you like literally saw the house burning and you talk to the owner and they're like, I don't know what to do, there's a long timeline where the insurance comes in, and about a bazillion real estate investors, at least in our market, are going to go and try to have a conversation. Like you said, it was already locked up.
I think there was like nine other offers on the table for this one house.
What's that?
I said, I believe there like 9 different offers on this house when we called. For sure.
So that's why the reason I want to mention that to everybody is if you're competing with a ton of other offers in the marketplace, but you're like, oh my gosh, this is the worst of the worst of the worst house. Well, yeah, fire damage properties it's the timeline's longer and they can stack and leverage your offer. So don't just hold on to that lead and be like, oh, if I get this deal, it's going to be so crazy. I'm going to get it so super cheap. It's going to be incredible. And then they have a ton of other offers, and then you're wasting your time and you're feeling, deflated a little bit because you didn't lock up this special deal that you had in your mind. None of them are. Keep adding new properties every single day. If you have a lot of leads, then you don't have to worry if one of them falls through or a couple of them fall through. You're going to build that momentum, build up that pipeline, and then you're going to be off and running. You're going to be closing consistently.
Yeah. So like today I added 55 properties that looked beat up. I try to hit a minimum of 50 because this is what I do full time now. And that's what I wanted to also talk about is if you guys are in time constraints, maybe you have a 9-to-5 job, you guys can drive for dollars and do this virtually, right? So we have people in New York that are actually driving for dollars here in Phoenix, Arizona. So that's a great way for you guys to actually get started, is to do it virtually. Maybe you have those, like I said, those time constraints. But I like driving for dollars, Brent. I don't know about you. Actually, I know you like driving for dollars because you're the one that kind of motivated me to actually drive for dollars. But I like it because it's cost efficient, right? I did my first deal with about $250.
Yep.
So it's a great way for a lot of people to actually get started in this business.
Well, and listen, there is a real discussion about quantity versus quality. I believe in my heart, if you want to do 25 to 30 deals this year, listen to this, 25 to 30 deals. All right. Go find the thousand most ugly properties around surrounding you. All right. And be absolutely obsessed with them. I'm talking, you're knocking on their doors, you're calling them, you're texting them, you're sending them handwritten letters. You're doing whatever you can to find the 20 to 30 deals in there that'll sell this year. And you are so super, super, super focused on just those. You block out everything else. You can be wildly successful with that. Now, it's not sexy. People love going after giant lists. People like getting into a nice rhythm with their calling or their door knocking or whatever else. But I'm telling you, if you have 1,000 of the ugliest properties and you put them on your stalker list, I am telling you, you're going to have an incredible year. And if you're in our market, right? I mean, we're talking $20,000 to $30,000 a deal, right? You're talking anywhere from $400,000 to $600,000. If you just find that 1,000 ugliest properties around you, just here in Phoenix, it can work anywhere else for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's another mistake that I made is I had, the shiny object syndrome. I listen to your podcast religiously. I listen to Cody Barton on Steve Trang's show as well. And Cody pretty much just laid out his blueprint, and I copied the exact same thing. I drove for dollars 6 days a week. I added 25 to 30 houses every single day. I'd go home and I would cold call those using your script as well. And lo and behold, after the 2-month mark, which I know it wasn't sexy, I understand that, but I actually found that deal just from this one application, right? So,
and that's what you're talking. That answers this question down below, right?
Yeah. Can you tell us how you closed a deal at 250? Yep, that's exactly what I did. I mean, I quit my day job. I was doing Uber Eats, and that's how I was getting money to have gas in my car, right? So, I mean, a lot of people are actually having side hustles like flipping couches, that sort of thing. I mean, at the end of the day, you just can't make excuses if you want it bad enough.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and here's the thing, you don't have to have a huge budget. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about in the main show here. Some of the mistakes that a lot of people make as you're starting out or whatever and building it. But it really, you know, if all you have is your talent and your efforts, you can really do a lot of damage with it if you're just brave enough to pick up the phone. And you were, right? Did you call them? Did you text them? How'd you get that deal?
I was actually cold calling them just off my
wait, real quick. What'd you make on that deal?
10,000.
Come on. No big deal. Just a $9,750 net. Come on.
Yeah, and it was more so just the proof of concept, because this is kind of what I've always wanted to do, but I didn't have the budget to get started. So that's why I leveraged, you know, driving for dollars, because it's going to be the most cost effective without a doubt.
Well, and I think about it all the time. I think about, okay, when I first started, and all the confusion and all the kind of murkiness on what you do to find deals, and people were talking about, well, you have to buy them at the foreclosure auction, or you have to know somebody that finds deals, which were essentially wholesalers, and you have to, you know, go after the pre-foreclosures, and you have to go after all these little things, you know, it was all like a mystery. Literally what we're trying to do here in this last 10 minutes is like totally get rid of the mystery here. Literally, you get an app called BatchDriven, right? It goes on your phone. They show you all the distressed properties that you can drive to, and you have an option. Go knock on their door or pick up the phone. That's it. Or you can do handwritten mailers. You can do something like that, but that's more of a passive way to do it. You just go out there, and then people go, well, wait a second. What do I do if they say yes? Right? You get a ton of different resources here for the paperwork, but you get a contract, a simple contract. You can, if you don't get it from talktopeople.com or Pace's contract at sub2.com, then you go to your local title company or closing attorney and say, hey, I'm interested in investing in real estate. I need your best investor-friendly, wholesaler-friendly contract. Can you give me a copy of that? Now you have a contract. You go get that signed up. Now you're off and running. So I want to get rid of all the mystery. And I think you're doing a fantastic job of showing the properties that you have shots at, that you have potential at. Because remember, only 6 to 10% of the market is in distress. So we got to focus on that. That's why we drive for dollars. That's why we look for these opportunities. So sorry, I kind of butted in here, but I thought you were just cruising.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
So I wanted to pop in here.
Yeah, and guys, I do this. I go live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the BatchDriven YouTube. So if you're like, how do I drive for dollars? How do I do it virtually? How do I do this and that? You guys can tune in and you guys can ask your questions there, or you guys can follow me on Instagram at BatchDriven app, and you guys can send me messages on there. And I'm more than happy to help you guys. And that's kind of my main priority, right? Is to be a moral support for you guys. I know we're actually doing it's called the One Door Away Challenge with all the sub-2 students right now. And what we're doing is putting together 30 action items for you guys to actually do to get your first deal or your second or third deal. So that's going to go public April 1st. And if you're thinking about getting started, you kind of don't have, you know, that community build around you. That's what we're looking to build, right? We want people that are trying to get their first deal, that are, you know, need that moral support, that extra push to actually, you know, pick up the phone and cold call, right? So stay tuned for that. That's going to be going live April 1st.
Incredible. What side of town are you at? Where are you at right now?
I'm actually at the office, the Lemon in Tempe.
Nice.
But I personally live in East Mesa.
I love it. And do you find yourself driving closer to where you live or closer to the office, or are you kind of expanding? How does that work? And what do you suggest people do? If they, what do you suggest that they do as they're starting to build their list?
So I've always gone on like the BatchDriven app and popped up the aerial view, and I'm trying to find, neighborhoods that are non-HOA. There's junk in the backyards, there's trash, and I'll actually just go drive for dollars kind of in my area. I've been targeting a lot of mobile homes in Apache Junction just because I know Pace and Cody are buying in that area. So I know if I lock up a property, I have someone that could actually buy that contract.
Love it.
Right. So I think that's step number one is, talk to your cash buyers, figure out, what areas they're looking to drive for. They want you to drive for dollars in.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the reason that wholesaling exists is because real estate investors and flippers don't want to go out there and find their own deals. They don't want to be doing it. They got to be fixing up these properties. They got to be designing it. They got to be staying on top of everything. They got to make sure that their subcontractors are doing what they need. Oh, the doors that they ordered aren't in at Lowe's or Home Depot. Now they got to go find it somewhere else. While we're out there driving for dollars, finding the opportunities. Remember, all wholesaling is sourcing discounted properties. That's really what wholesaling is. Now, the exit strategy can be different. The traditional exit strategy is just to assign that contract to a cash buyer. But I don't think that that's really the definition of wholesaling. I think wholesaling is discovering and finding and sourcing those discounted properties. And you start building that as the foundation of your real estate investing journey, your real estate investing business. Oh my gosh, you're unstoppable. I mean, you are absolutely unstoppable once you start sourcing your own deals. And that's what he's talking about. I mean, you can now there's apps to do it. Back in the day, I'd have to go with a pad of paper and write down the addresses and do all the research on the county assessor's site. And now it's right there. You get it instantly. So it's
right.
Absolutely incredible. And you can skip trace it, the phone number right through with batch skip tracing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's all done on the app. It's like a one-stop shop. You guys can add the properties. You guys can cold call from there. You can skip trace, then cold call. You guys can send SMS, and then you guys can send direct mail. Or if you have even a larger budget, what you can do is build up your driving for dollars list, export it, and put it into a dialer. So it really it's just such a great way for you guys to actually, get started.
Love it. I'm going to let you close this thing out, brother, and then we're going to be on at the top of the hour. It's going to be Pace Morby, Jamil Damji answering the questions. What are the biggest mistakes people make when they're starting out? We're real excited. Take it on, brother.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, Brent. So guys, if you guys are looking to you got some value from, this pre-show, what I want you guys to do, and maybe you don't have a budget, maybe you have a 9-to-5 job, driving for dollars is going to be such a great way for you guys to actually get started. Some of the reasons it's cost efficient and it's a custom niche list, right? Not too many people are going to have access to the same exact list. So if you're not good at negotiating, you're scared to call these sellers, this is going to be the way for you guys to do that. So if you guys want to follow me along, what you guys can do is follow me on Instagram at the BatchDriven app. That's going to be my handle. So if you guys have questions for driving for dollars, I'm going to be here as moral support to help you guys through, step one to get in your first deal, right? And then we also go live Monday through Friday, or I should say Tuesday through Friday on the BatchDriven YouTube. So if you haven't already, you guys can subscribe. You guys can bring your questions, and I'll be there as, like I said, some moral support to help you guys. Awesome, guys. Thank you guys so much, and they're going to take it from here.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show!
The truth is there was only one fur jacket, and you know it had to be popped on Jamil. I mean, you just look good in it. It's your wife's coat, you look fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Welcome, everybody, to Wholesale Hotline number 55. It's going to be a really, really, really in-depth, and we're going to really peel back a lot of the layers, a lot of the mystery, a lot of the kind of uncertainty that you might be feeling about getting into and being a real estate entrepreneur, okay? This whole show is, and we really, really, really need your guys' participation in this. We really need a lot of really strong questions this week so that we can just answer everything and make sure that you feel confident going out starting tonight or tomorrow and going after really great opportunities. My name is Brent Daniels, Mr. Talk to People. I'm talking everything lead generation. Up top here next to me is my man, Jamil Damji. He is going to talk everything about exit strategy and selling those deals. And the foundation of this show right here, look at this guy, is Pace Morby. He's going to talk about everything when it comes to converting a lead into an actual opportunity. So we're really excited, everybody. So hold on, strap in. We are going to go absolutely bananas tonight because this show right here, this is where we really peel it. We really look at what's real in this business, and I'm excited to see what you guys come up with the questions. So, Jamil, Pace, what do you guys think?
Well, first and foremost, somebody's talking smack about my dance lessons or my dance skills, so I appreciate that. Bro, I already see like 5 or 6 questions in the comments that are so stinking good. I am so excited about today's episode. Good to see you, Jamil Damji, with no hat. I'm starting to get used to the look, man.
I'm getting used to it too. I put a hat on this morning to go to the gym and I'm like, oh, who that guy? Oh no. So every time, you guys know I have versions, right? There was Jamil 1.0. That's double chin beard. There's Jamil 2.0, which is new beard, same hat. This is Jamil 3.0, new beard, no hat.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's go.
Also, I wanted to just add, today's episode is extremely juicy because we are going to talk about the 10 biggest mistakes that new wholesalers have when they start, how to avoid them, how to overcome them, how to run through them, how to fail through them, all of the above. But we're gonna talk about the biggest mistakes. And
can I start with number 1?
Please.
It's actually a Brent Daniels question. I think nobody better on planet Earth to answer this question than Brent. And Brent, by the way, dude, that nugget last week about the 7-layer dip. Like, so good, bro. I've talked to 15 other people about that exact thing. I went back and like deep dived into it, found out kind of where it came from. I like the spin that you put on it. I like the way you talk about it. But the 7 layers of why. Oh my gosh, so good. I literally got to like number 4, and I had to stop and pause and turn everything off for like 2 hours until I figured out all the way. I'm currently only at 6, bro.
You can't fake it.
You cannot fake it. It is so good. It actually forced me to go back up to number 2 and 3 and rewrite them because I was like, whoa, it was even a guy that's doing a lot of deals, it put me in a position where I was like, wow. So good. Anyway, thank you for that. I have a great question. On the warm-up show, it was one of the last questions and it didn't get answered, but it's one of the best questions. I've seen you answer this before. I'm wondering if your answer is the exact same way.
Okay.
But the number one thing that the number one challenge with wholesalers, I feel like, is fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one mistake that they make, is having fear. And the number one thing that keeps them from being successful would be fear. So the question actually is up here, and they said, what would you guys say to help somebody get over the fear of calling sellers?
I love it. Two things. Okay. There's two things at play here. All right. Number one is the fear is sneaking into your brain because you're not in constant action. What happens is when you are taking action all the time, you don't have time, right? You're reacting. You're building up. The synapses in your brain are starting to run and they're starting to go, and you're starting to figure out what's going on with this conversation, with this situation, with the way that you're feeling, with what's boiling up inside of your belly or in your mind. You're starting to get all these different kind of emotions, all these different kind of feelings, all these different things. But fear gets destroyed by action. When you're in that, all of a sudden the fear starts going away and you start to realize, wait a second, I'm just talking to another human being here. I'm just working on seeing if there's somebody in my community that needs my help, and I'm just reaching out and I'm trying to see if I can find that person. There's going to be plenty of people that I talk to that don't need my help right now, but I'm just looking for that one person. So you're looking for you got to balance that cause and effect, right? The cause is I'm scared. People are going to get mad at me. People are going to tell me to get a real job or whatever else, or yell at me and scream. Or you could focus on the cause, but the effect is at some point you get in front of somebody that can absolutely, truly use your service. They absolutely feel the value that you can provide them by helping them get rid of their property as cleanly and as smoothly as possible. And that's really what we do. We try to find people that are in that position where they need the help. They don't want to list it with a real estate agent. They're about to lose it to foreclosure. They're going through some sort of emotional distress in their life, or they just can't fix up the property anymore. They can't handle it. There's a million different reasons why, but if we focus on the effect of what we do, what our actions are, we win every time. The second one is you got to be grateful. You got to be grateful. One, you got to be in action all the time. If you're in action, you're going to kick ass. You will win. And once you start winning a little bit, you start stacking all those wins and you are off and running. The second one is to destroy fear is gratitude. Gratitude. What are you grateful for? What is it about your life? What is it about your situation? What is it about just you being able to be an entrepreneur right now? Like, all these things are so absolutely critical when it comes to destroying that fear. We fear because we're not in action, and we fear because we're not grounded in what we're grateful for.
May I jump in on that?
Yep.
Before you jump into that, can I just say, guys, everybody in the comments that has fear of calling sellers, I just want you guys to type yes. I want to fill up the comments real quick. Let's see who has fear of calling sellers. And I just want to see who is struggling with that issue. Jamil, what do you got to say, brother?
So fear is a funny one. I love it because I listened so much to different opinions about it, how to understand what it is, how to transcend it. Is it a manifestation of the subconscious mind? Is it useful? All of these things that there's so many intelligent people that have talked about fear from a biological level to a spiritual level to just an action standpoint. Here's something that I found really interesting, a perspective on fear. So, Pace, Brent, do either of you guys remember the last time you were at an amusement park and you were on your upswing or on the right way up on the roller coaster?
Yep.
So there's that anxiety, there's that fear, right? You're like, oh, it's happening. Oh, it's happening. Oh, I'm scared. And it's scary. That is palpable. The same kind of fear you get right before you sit down and you start dialing. It's the same feeling you get right when you're driving a car and somebody jumps out in front of you and you and you move real quick, and that action creates the response. You know, it's that same thing. It's that high adrenaline. It's the biological response. We all know it, right? Adrenaline, anticipation. You know that we can label it anticipation, anxiety. There's so many things, right? But we know hormonally it's norepinephrine, adrenaline, and what does that do to our physiology? It makes the heart start beating faster. It creates vasoconstriction, so you're vascularly you're constricting, so that you can put more blood flow to your muscles, more blood flow to your body. Vasodilation, not constriction. Vasodilation, so more blood goes to the muscles, so you can act more. Here's the thing that I want us to start looking at. Why are we so scared of fear? Why do we hate it so much? Why can't we start looking at fear as something amazing is about to happen and I should move through it? When you recognize that you have that emotion, that emotion is creeping up in you, that you're nervous, scared, that's the time to get excited, not the time to run away. And so I think that as a society, what we've done is we've become so comfortable. We're always trying to run away from things that make us scared. We're trying not to be fearful. You know, maybe for the next 7 days, why don't we all try to do something that we're scared of and work through the emotions so we can start understanding that it's a transient emotion, and that once you get on the other side of it, all we want to do is yell and throw our hands up in the air and scream at how exciting and amazing it is.
Love it.
That's an interesting thing. Would the roller coaster or any of this stuff be as rewarding if you did not have that feeling in the beginning?
Right?
It's the same thing with like your honeymoon, wedding night. It's like all that anticipation, right? I'm you know, Mormon. So that was a big deal for us. But that's an interesting thing. Like, would it be as rewarding? Your body is almost setting you up for a larger reward. I like grateful. I love the roller coaster. I actually wrote these down, guys. Like, I love these analogies so much. I think along the lines with grateful, I would add to grateful, understanding what power you have, and grateful that you found this opportunity. Because one of the things that was really challenging, I had a girl named Anna working for me when I first transitioned to wholesale full time. And Anna was on the phones. And about a month into it, she's like, I just don't like this. I don't understand it. Like, I go, hold on. What do you mean you don't understand it? She's like, we're just trying to get discounts on people's houses, and I don't know why they would ever sell to us. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I sat down with Anna and I was like, I am so sorry. Come meet me over at my house. So she came over, meets me at my house, and we go through. By this time, I'd probably already done 300 deals. And I go through this big, long Excel sheet and I go, hey, let's start from number one, the first deal I ever did. And I want to tell you what problem. So instead of us talking about all these big checks we get on these houses, right? I had this house where I helped this lady rehouse these bunnies. And I had to sit down with Anna and I said, the reason why I bought this house, I actually had Keegley dispo that. It was my first deal ever. I made 25 grand on it. I didn't even know what an assignment contract was. When they were like, yeah, send us an assignment contract, I was like, hey, Jamil, your team's asking me for an assignment contract. I don't know what that is, right? That's how little I knew, okay? But what I did know, being a business owner, is that my product has always been and will always be solving somebody's problem with my product. Mm-hmm. And we all have to be grateful that we have a product that truly does solve people's problems. So the reason why they sold the house to me instead of the district is who I was up against. They sold it to me for $15,000 less than what the district was offering. And the reason being is because I helped her rehouse her bunnies. And so now when I have people that don't quite understand what we do, I go, yeah, you just got to find the bunnies. You got to find the bunnies. Like, what do you mean you got to find the bunnies? I'm like, you got to find what that seller's equivalent of the bunnies are. That's what you're doing. That's all we're doing.
Best stew I had all year, bro.
There, Jamil ate them up. So you've got to be grateful for the fact that you have a tool that truly helps people. So think about this. There's all these people out there selling soap and all this like MLMs. And I'm not saying you can't make money in MLMs, but man, it's really hard to buy into that. We have a product that's very easy to buy into. And I think you're grateful comment here is so impactful because that's what got Anna. So check this out. Next week, Anna gets her first deal under contract. We make $58,000. And because she truly understood, and shout out to Zach Keeps. I assigned that to Zach Keeps, and Zach Keeps was like, I'm going to take this down. I'm going to fix and flip on myself. And then he wholesaled it above me for another $50,000. I still bust his chops for that every once in a while. So Anna goes and gets that deal. And I'm like, dude, what an amazing, you did it. She goes, yeah, because now I understand what we're doing. So you guys have to understand what we're doing is not looking for discounts. What we're doing is looking for bunnies. Okay. So utilize this amazing business that we have. We're so lucky to be in. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I have so much belief in what we're doing that I get excited to call sellers. So I still have that anticipation, but it's no longer a fear anticipation. It's more an elation, right? Like a roller coaster type of feeling, like, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. So I really, really like that. And Jamil, the roller coaster thing brings it home for me. So thanks for those analogies.
You lead into number 2, which I have written down as focus on the pain, not the price. And so that's the thing I think that a lot of new investors are falling into, is that they're focusing on the price. Just like you had Anna say, I feel wrong. I don't feel like anybody's going to want to ever sell me a house at pennies on the dollar. How do I justify that ethically? I don't feel right about making lowball offers. And it's a reframe of the whole thing. It's not a lowball offer when you're solving a problem, when you are helping people get through their pain, helping people create a solution. You're not doing anything that's unethical there. You're doing something actually additive to the entire situation.
Well, and I think it's really interesting, just to kind of add on to that, Jamil, is I think you need to learn early on who determines value, right? You want to know who determines value in a purchase situation? The buyer. Every time. It's not the market. It's not the seller. It's not the real estate agent. It's not the appraiser. It's not the courts. It's not Zillow. The buyer determines the value. And a beautiful example of this, and we all went through this here in Phoenix, there were literally houses selling for $200,000 in Maryvale. In 60 days later, we're selling for $20,000. And people were like, not bidding those up. They were literally, that's how it went down. Like there were no buyers, right? That's the values went so far down to where the buyers determined, okay, I'll take a risk on this property right now. That used to be 200,000, now is 20, 15,000. I remember seeing this. I remember being at the auction, seeing this and being like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like the power of buyers is everything. So if you're the buyer out there and you're going into a situation where you are negotiating with a distressed property owner, you determine the value, right? This is what you believe this property is worth to you at this time. All right. And that's what you're negotiating from. And I highly suggest that you get a financial backer on every single deal, that you could close it if you needed to. That's going to give you the confidence of being the actual buyer and not just going out there and lying to people and saying, hey, listen, I'm the buyer. I'm a great cash buyer, but you're not. You don't have any money, right? But if you have somebody that you're partnered up with, if you've got a financial backer that sees you out there hustling and says, when you find a great deal, bring it to me. Now, all of a sudden, you've got that confidence. You know that you're the buyer. You're getting out there and you're finding those opportunities. And I think that that's so powerful, right? The buyers determine the value. If they put gasoline at $1,000 a gallon, we are all riding bicycles. All right? We are. You know what I mean? It's just the buyers determine the value.
Love it. Yeah, it's interesting. Pain, not the price. I can't remember one time where I bought a property discounted where I didn't find the bunnies. Right? There's never been a time where somebody's like, yeah, I'll sell my property at 60 cents on the dollar, or 70 cents on the dollar, or 75 cents on the dollar, or whatever the number is. I'll sell it to you all cash. Let's go 10 days, 30 days, whatever. I've never bought one where somebody's like, yeah, that's all right. Sounds good. And it's just some lap deal. Now, there's been the deals that I call lap deals, the ones that just fall in your lap. Those ones are people that just readily give you their pain right up front. Like, I am struggling with X, Y, and Z, and I need help. And it's like, great, we can solve that problem. And that's a lap deal where they're presenting the bunnies to you. Like, here's my bunnies, please help me out, right? So pain, not price is 100% what we do. Bro, that's a great number 2. I love that.
That's a great number 2. I love it.
Are you going off of a Jamil list right now?
Yep.
You got a number 3, Jamil?
That's Brent's.
There you go. That was mine.
Not price.
Yeah. Well, and listen, it's interesting, right? You need 2 things to make a really good deal. If it's a wholesale deal, if it's just a straight purchase, right? If it's not something creative like you talk about, Pace, you need motivation and you need equity. There you go. So those are the 2 things. And I feel like, we're throwing out a lot of terms and people, I'm trying to think, guys, like I'm trying to put us into our minds of us when we're brand new, just squishy, just everything is kind of getting absorbed, and we really want to make sure that people are on the right path with this and make sure that we're as clear as possible with what we're talking about. But what it really comes down to is there's people that are in distress in your market. Find them and get in front of them and have the confidence to do that. And I think there's been some great comments on the side here that said, squat up. If you're scared, squat up. If you're scared, squat up. Squatting up's the best part. It's absolutely true. It is really difficult for anybody. I don't care if you've just got like an iron, will, and you're going to make this happen. It's really difficult just doing it from your bedroom. Well, your parents or your roommates or your wife or your kids are like, what are you doing up there? You're just cold calling people that have ugly houses? What is going on here? You need to surround yourself with people that understand what you're doing because they're doing it themselves as well.
So I do have another. If Brent's number 4, the next one that I had was, it's not you, it's them. Success is a product of timing and consistency.
I tell people that all the time. It comes down to 2 things.
It's them. It's not you, it's them.
Yeah.
I love it. What do you mean? What do you mean it's them? What do you mean, Jamil?
Well, because a lot of times what happens is a new wholesaler starts, they get on the phone, they're trying, they start making contact with sellers, and then all of a sudden they lose the deal and they think it's them. They think that they're not good on the phone. They think that they couldn't build rapport. They think that they did something wrong. They didn't have the magic script. They don't have the magic list. They don't have the next shiny object. They don't have the coolest CRM. They don't, they think it's them. They think it's something they've done wrong, other than getting in front of them consistently at the right time. Truly.
Yep.
That's all they did wrong. The only thing, and it's never you, it's them. They weren't ready when you called, but then when they were ready, you didn't call.
That's why the question of quick story.
Please.
Real quick, let me just this little one. The quick one of, well, what if I follow up on these leads too much? There is no too much. There's not too much. It's timing. Get in front of them. They're going to make a decision. Go ahead, Pace. Sorry.
So in the very beginning, it's just me and my wife, Laura, and Laura's in real estate, so she knows how to talk to people, and she was doing all my follow-up. And I'm sorry, she wasn't doing my follow-up. I was doing the follow-up. So I would answer the phone calls, right? I would do the upfront conversation. I would set the appointment. This is the very beginning, right? We all started here. So I would set the appointment. I would go on the buy appointment, and then I would be the guy that did the follow-up. What my wife did is she did my reporting in the very beginning. So she would do my paperwork. She would do all my reporting. She'd work with title. She was my transaction coordinator. My wife started this really interesting thing. Every 30 days, she would go back to all my leads from the previous month, and she would find out who sold and who they sold to, et cetera, right? It's kind of a thing that Keegley probably does this all the time. They go back and find all this stuff out. They find out who the buyers are. It's a great tactic. My wife found out that I was missing out on like 2 contracts a week because of one thing. I felt like I was following up too soon. So I'd play Mr. Cool Guy, right? Mr. Cool Guy. So what my wife would do is she would call these people and she'd say, hey, my name's Laura. You met with my husband last month. We're a small ma and pa. we're just starting in real estate. It would really help me, in our business to understand why you didn't sell to my husband and you actually ended up selling to so-and-so. I can see, public record. And they said, oh, I didn't know you were still interested. And my wife was like, how would you think we're not interested? And the answer was what? Why do they think we weren't interested?
We didn't hear from you.
Follow up. We didn't hear from you. Didn't follow up. So I can tell you that the majority of our contracts that we've lost, and we go back and watch who bought and who sold and all that kind of stuff, it's amazing to see the sellers will actually sell lower sometimes than the price you were talking to the seller for because you simply didn't follow up. And a big part of this is that we rely entirely on rapport. Like, same thing with me. I'm great at rapport building. And so I would just rely entirely on rapport. It's all about me. Like Jamil's saying, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about them. For me, in my stupid little feeble mind, my walnut brain, my little T-Rex brain, I thought it was about me. And so I'm like, Mr. Cool Guy, I'm going to play it safe. And I wouldn't call him. And then I'd check in 2-3 weeks later. They wouldn't call me back. Okay, I'll call him in a couple weeks. Dude, they don't remember you. They have enough people calling them. They have 4 or 5 other people calling them. They're not going to remember you. You have to be the only consistent person. So I can tell you this. When I was a contractor, one of the most important reasons why we had so much business, was I the best of the best contractor? No. Have I ever been the best of the best of anything? No. But one thing that was different is I just showed up as a contractor and other contractors just didn't show up. I can tell you wholesalers are some of the most inconsistent people ever. So if you're just consistently following up and you realize it's about them, it's not about you, Jamil's statement right there is 100%. So you need to remind yourself that you are not bothering these sellers. You have something to offer. Do not make that mistake. Make sure you are following up. And if you don't know when to follow up, here's a tip. If you don't know when to follow up with a seller, you ask the seller, when should I follow up with you?
And then take that time and cut it in half.
Yeah, or at least 70%. So they'd say 10 days. Yeah, follow me in a week and a half. Follow up in 6 or 7 days. Or Brent's right. It's probably half.
Yep. I've got number 4 and 5 if you want me to rattle it off, Jamil.
Please.
All right. And this will be kind of, and I've obviously mentioned it on here before, but this will kind of let you guys open it up and we can let this breathe a little bit. But the 3 P's and the 3 D's are number 4 and number 5 biggest mistakes.
I love these.
The 3 P's: paralysis by analysis, perfectionism, and procrastination. Those are the 3 that really take us off. And Jamil, you've spoke to this really, really well, and I'm excited to share it again today and get your thoughts on it. But it really is the truth. I mean, we can really fall down into the YouTube university, into the podcast university, into meetups, into Facebook groups, into following people's Instagram stories. We can go to looking at all the numbers and looking at the stats in our market and looking at all the different things that you need to understand, like the purchase contract and an assignment agreement, and who are the best properties to go after, and how do I talk to them, and what's the best script to use, and how do I do a lead follow-up, and how do I do all these things. Let me tell you this, and I'll let you guys take it from here with the 3 P's. The dumbest people make the most money in our business.
Oh my gosh, bro. My wife and I talk about this all the time. Laura and I were just talking about this the other day. She's like, how is this person crushing it? I go, babe, they don't have enough brain cells to even think they can't do it.
Yeah. And they don't get taken down by procrastination. They take serious action right away. They're certainly not worried about being perfect. They're the furthest away from an analytical mind of all time. And the paralysis by analysis, there's no analysis. I'm going to go find an ugly house, try to get a hold of the owner and see if somebody wants to buy it. That's literally, I'm telling you. And people do that over and over and over and over, and all of a sudden they're like wildly successful, while some like really smart, intelligent person that whatever that reaches out, or as a student or whatever, is like struggling because they're like trying to get it all fit into this box perfectly, and they're not taking the action. And it's incredible to me. I mean,
what are the three P's one more time?
All the time.
Three P's one more time.
3 P's: paralysis by analysis, perfectionism, and procrastination. There you go. And I honestly don't think a lot of people, it's procrastination. I think a lot of people are just concerned that they don't know enough to be able to take action. And that's what really slows it up. They want to make sure that they've got everything in their, everything set up in their life, in their lifestyle, in their notebook that they're taking, in their, whatever, in their mind before they want to take action. And it's completely the other way around. I mean, that's why, Tom Kroll famously called it the rhino tribe. Because rhinoceroses, they just run forward. You know what I mean? No matter what happens, they just keep moving forward. You know what I mean? It was a great image. It was a great thought, and it's the absolute truth. If you're thinking, a rhino doesn't think about all of the 3 P's. They're just going. They're just taking action. They're just moving forward. And I thought that was a beautiful kind of analogy for that.
Love that.
What do you think, Jamil?
I think that pertains to everything, even including scaling. Even as you get a couple of deals, there's a lot of people who are even afraid to scale, right? And like hire their first acquisition person or whatever, because they still have paralysis analysis. I see it all the time. I see these super smart people, and bro, I'm telling you, the smarter the person, the harder it is for them to get the concept of just going out and getting it done.
Yep.
That leads me to the next one. If I can, I don't know, Pace, I'm sorry. I feel like we're just running through all I know you've got a whole list of them there.
I'll give one more before the end. I think Brent has the 3 Ds. You want to do those first, or you want Jamil to do number 6?
We'll split it up. Go ahead, Jamil.
Well, okay. I think that this ties into the next one I have, was lack of belief in the model or themselves. Truly. They either are not sold that this works, or they're not sold that they can do it.
Is that where like imposter syndrome and stuff comes from?
100%. Imposter
they see
syndrome,
other people.
Yeah. Or like, here's another example, right? I've got a student, I'm not going to name him, great dude, but gets into the Astro program, spends some money, buys the mentorship, gets in, starts learning for a few days, and gorges like a lot of people do when they get modular education. He's gorging through it, gets past week 1, week 2, week 3 doesn't unlock for him until week 3, but he's already done week 1 and week 2, and he finished them in like 7 days. And so, he came into the Facebook group and was like, is this a scam? Well, why? Because your 3rd week doesn't get unlocked until the 3rd week. You know what I mean? And so this man isn't truly sold on the business model yet, or he's not truly sold on being able to learn the business model, or he's not truly sold on being able to do the business model himself. Anyway, we resolved the issue, and he's moving along and doing great. But it's there. It's that thing. You believe you're an imposter, or you believe the situation is impossible.
So you just don't do anything?
So you do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
What's a better mindset to have? Is it just like admitting that you're absolutely horrible and just figuring out how to have fun with it? Or what do you think is the right way to swing that mindset?
I think that especially when you're trying something new, right? Look, if you were to tell me that people, when you do a complicated heart surgery or brain surgery, they almost take you to the point where you're like physically dead. And they do the procedure and then they bring you back. And if you were to ask a lot of people before modern science and before the repetition of these successful surgeries happened over and over again, if this is something that we can do, most people would say, are you crazy? You're going to kill the man. You're going to kill her. Right. And it's the same thing. It's until we do it, you don't believe it's true. So you just have to go through it. You just got to run through that situation. And a lot of time it's just like watching a movie. There's suspended disbelief. Look, for the time we're sitting here and doing this, I need you to suspend disbelief. Your cynicism, your whatever negativity might be going through your head, your scarcity, all of these thoughts need to be suspended, while you sit down and do this work, because while you're doing this work, you must believe that you'll be successful. You must believe that this will work, because that is the only process that's going to lead you across that line.
Well, it's the only process that'll get you to take action, to start the momentum, to start just getting in your car and driving and finding an ugly house and putting it into BatchDriven and then reaching out and starting it. It's stacking it, right? And it's just doing it little by little by little and being surrounded by the people that are doing it. You know what I mean? If you see other people doing that surgery and you're like, I'm just not there yet. I'm hoping to get there yet, but I'm watching what they're doing and I'm talking to them and how they overcome it and how they do it. And then why now they're just talking like this surgery is no big deal, right? Now they could do this surgery in their sleep, or they have, they've created a machine to do the surgery for them or whatever. Like, how did they do it? Well, you got to be around those people. Right, you got to be around the people that that can help you out and be kind of shorten that learning curve and give you that big shot of faith. It's really what you're talking about, Jamil. Is just having faith in yourself and in the process. And I think it's easy to see other people on and see other people on podcasts and YouTube and whatever doing these deals. But if you don't have that true faith inside you that is bulletproof, then you're not gonna take the action. You're just not gonna take the action. And if you don't take the action, then you're gonna go, oh, it just doesn't work, And that's the easy way out. There you go. Pace, what do you got?
I got the best one of all time. Busy work.
Yep.
Can I say some bad words on here?
Yeah, let loose.
I call it mental masturbation.
Okay.
Because what people are doing is they're tricking their mind into thinking that they're actually working and they're actually getting things done, and it creates this world where they're like, I'm working so hard. So I tell people all the time. I saw that Brandon Mitchell comment, by the way. That was a great comment. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. Guys, just so you know, on days like this when we're not actually answering Q&A, which we will get to here shortly. On days we're not answering Q&A, we see all the comments. We love them. We message each other back and forth. So guys, thank you so much for the comments. We love them. We take notes of your guys' questions and we will get to them. So busy work. I call this A items and B items. Okay. So a B item would be like, if I could show you guys my desk down right here, you'd see a stack of mail, right? So like insurance policies and tax returns and all stuff I got to send over to Tony Counts. Handful of other things I got to do, but I'm not going to touch that during money making hours, right? So like from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night, that's when I make my money. That's A time. That's talking to people. But when everybody else is asleep or not working is when I do my B items, which would be like, let me go to Office Max and get my paper. Let me fill my gas tank. Let me clean my car. Let me do this. Let me run my errands. Let me get my haircut. You know how many people I see that are broke that go get haircuts on like Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? That's what I'm talking about. A items and B items. So A items would be this. Have I reached out? Let's say I'm an Astro student, right? Have I reached out to enough wholesalers? Let's say I'm a creative finance person. Have I reached out to enough wholesalers, see if they have dead leads? Am I actually networking? Those are money-making activities. Am I on the phone? Am I talking to probate attorneys? Am I doing money-making activities? Am I a Brent Daniels student, TTP alumni? Am I on the phone? Am I texting? Those are the things I do during money-making hours. When other people are awake and ready and willing to pick up your phone, are you dialing and doing outreach? That's A items. Anything outside of that is B items. So if you're not consistently doing enough deals, look at your daily schedule. And here's what happens. A lot of guys I see, they'll have a 9-to-5 job, and we know what that means. That means, early morning, you're spending with the kids. It's challenging. You got to drop kids off at school. You go to work 9 to 5. You have maybe some time at lunch. You watch a couple YouTube videos, whatever. You get home at 5. It's not like all of a sudden you have 5:15, you're on the phone, right? You got family, you got, relationship with your wife, your kids, whatever. That's a challenge, right? But are you putting in an hour or two every single day into your business? Are you that serious? Now, what I see is that when people say, oh, I'm struggling, I go, great. Well, let's look at your last couple of weeks. What did you do during your time that you got home from work and you took care of your most important obligation, which is your family? Shouldn't call it an obligation, but you know what I mean. What are you doing? They go, okay, well, I was reading this book and I was doing this. No. Get on the phone. Reading books is for Sunday, man, or during your lunch break or something along those lines. When you have that hour, that sweet time, you need to be on the phone. So busy work is when you get home from work and you just veg out and you listen to, let's say, an audiobook the whole time that you're home. You just wasted that whole evening. You got to get on the phone, network with people. Even then, here's what I would do bare minimum is I would be watching Wholesale Hotline with other people. I would be multitasking, driving for dollars and listening to Wholesale Hotline. I would be saying, hey guys, let's have a watch party. Like we did for Jared Frankham and his team. He won a trip out here to Arizona for having the biggest watch party for Wholesale Hotline. Like do it, multitask, right? So busy work. Do you guys kind of see the same thing with people that are like, I'm not doing enough deals? It turns out to be just a bunch of busy work.
100%.
Creative avoidance.
Yep.
That is the PG
Damn, that's so much better than busy work.
No, it's the same.
I think you said mental masturbation.
Yeah. I creative avoidance is there too, because we find ourselves coming. If you have an extra hour, I see people fabricate crap to go do that wasn't even a priority 14 seconds ago.
Yep.
Here's an example. And I'm gonna get people are gonna get mad at me for this, but it's fine. Pace, Brent, we go out on events, we speak in crowds, we talk to people, we bring big crowds together of like-minded wholesalers that should be doing deals with one another. What always really interests me is after we do our presentation, after we do our talk, after we've delivered the content of the night that we're supposed to deliver, right, for the people that are there, what ends up happening is you have all these amazing people that are doing business that could be meeting each other, not talking to each other, standing in line, waiting to take a photograph. That to me is again, no problem taking the pictures, right? And no problem with that. I like getting my picture taken. So does Pace, so does Brent. But let's be honest. Wouldn't that time when you're at a networking event and there's, rather than waiting to shake the hand of the person or taking a picture of the person, that you'd be in the crowd talking to people in your marketplace doing business, rather than, hey, I need a picture for IG of me and Pace or me and Brent or me and Jamil. Instead, let me go talk to these 10 people and figure out how I can make $100,000 from tonight's meetup.
Last night, Jamil and I were at this event. Okay. And
that's what made me think about it, right? It's what made me think about it, because I was like, wow, all these people are here waiting to just chat and they don't even want to, they just waiting for a picture. They don't even want to chat with each other. But again.
So last night, I had a gentleman who's in TTP comes up to me. He goes, hey, doesn't say anything but this. It was great. Tells me his name, of course, because he's a badass. Introduces himself. Hey, Pace, my name is blank. I have an appointment on Wednesday, and I think it's going to have to be a creative deal. Can you help me? And I was like, there's nothing more than I would want to talk about than that exact thing. So to Jamil's point, there's usually, from what I see when I'm watching the audience, it's like 2 to 3% are there of like actually trying to network and build relationships. It's almost like they don't realize the whole point of a meetup is to actually meet with people and do deals. That's a really, really great point. Is that along the lines of creative avoidance, Jamil?
I believe so. It's like, they think that and again, it's fine, but it's just like hey, if I get that picture with Pace, or I get this picture with Jamil, or I get this picture with Brent, again, no problem. I love it, guys. Don't get us wrong. This isn't a rebuke of that, but it's like, you've got all these amazing people there that are in this, that come to this event that you can do deals with. I would way rather you have a $100,000 deal than a picture of me on your IG, or a Pace or a Brent. Like, it's just, that's the thing. And you've got to choose your priorities. What's important to you? It was coming to this network event. Was it super important to get a picture with Pace, or was it important to get the information Pace had to deliver so I can make $100,000 to better my family?
I always went to networking events before all of this, before the TTP, just as soon as I got into wholesaling, it was like, you would drive out to like Glendale to go to Sean Terry's office, or there was like the ASRIA meetings here in Central Phoenix or downtown Phoenix-ish. And then, kind of some random Bigger Pockets meetups that you would go to. And I was always looking for people that were like, had the energy, right? They had the energy, but they weren't, bullshitting, right? They were actually doing deals. They actually had a good reputation. Now, most of them were just trying to squat up and work together on deals and do that. But it was a fantastic way to open up to the people that are actually doing the business. And you can tell the people that are actually doing the business because they're not so much, they're not there so much with the notebook, right? And the tell me the 5 things that you do to get deals type of thing. They're just kind of networking, and they want to know about you, and they want to know what you're doing to find opportunities, what your specialty is. Are you a fix and flipper? Are you a wholesaler? Are you somebody that owns a bunch of doors or whatever it is? And that's how you really start generating those relationships. And I found fantastic cash buyers from that. I found fantastic friends from that. Actually, from that meeting, guys, I met Billy Bell. And Billy Bell was my disposition manager for forever. And he was working in another job. The guy organizing the Bigger Pockets was like, hey, listen, I got an up and coming guy that really is interested in wholesale. Would you let him, come and kind of shadow you? And I said, no, I'm not going to let him shadow me. But every Saturday I do something called Super Saturday, where I get together with as many people as they want, and they watch me cold call, and I have them pop in and make some calls themselves. And that ended up being a relationship. Billy Bell ended up getting a deal for $12K his first day in, and then opened up to be my acquisition manager first, then disposition, and made millions together. So, there's somebody put up picking up the frequency. You feel the vibes around people. You know what I mean? You're going to feel the vibes if you're going there to genuinely connect there and see if you can squat up. And that's what it's all about. I love it.
Again, Robin put up there, and I apologize for putting this out. She said, some of this is giving me a spanking. It's not meant to, sweetheart. Everybody loves you. You're amazing. It's not about that. And in fact, it's not about wanting to have that opportunity to take the picture or to do that. But if you stood in line, waited, an hour of the event, an hour after the event, just to get a photo, when for that hour there was opportunity to connect, make money, do deals, network, I think that I would trade that photo up for the networking up 10 out of 10 times. That's
but I think, Jamil, what you're actually saying is there's no need to trade off. What you're saying is while you're in line, you should know the 5 people, 3 people behind you, 2 people in front of you.
Yeah. Figure out a way to multitask it, right? It's like the photo op is awesome. I get it. I want them too. I love those. I love pictures with people. I love having, I collect them. I save them. They're in my phone. They're beautiful. They're amazing. At the same time, what's more amazing is getting that message from someone saying, hey, saw you at a meetup, listened to you talk, left before you finished because I started networking with the guy beside me. Anyhow, fast forward 3 months later, we did a deal, made $70,000, and you changed my life. Thank you. Never got a picture with you because I was too busy making money. Woo!
Right.
Tell me
Love
that,
Do you guys mind if I just answer this real quick? Latron has put this like 5 or 6 times, and I've got the books here next to me. Do you mind if I run through these real quick?
Sure.
Can I try and guess one of them?
Sure. It's not, come on.
I can't guess. Man. It's too hard.
All right. So first of all, I really like this for wholesaling. David Dodge, our good friend of ours, put together this great book. It's fantastic. He really crushed it with this. And he really didn't, a lot of the times when you get these books, it's kind of just as a lead funnel, but he really poured his heart and soul into this. This is a really, really, really great one to go after. This one doesn't have a cover, but it's called The Happiness Advantage. And I think that this is really, really key. It's a fantastic book. I go to this all the time, just in my life, whether it be business or personal, but it's a great book to put into your mind and have that, because what's the point? If you can make all the money in the world, if you're not happy, who cares? Go Giver, obviously, this is a must read.
Classic.
Read this every week for a year and tripled my income. Okay. This one is good. I like this one. The Book of Negotiating Real Estate. They did a really good job here. So this one is really good. If you're feeling a little bit struggling with that, it's got some great tactics. And then the one thing, that's what I would do. The one thing, the focus. This is all about focusing. Gary Keller crushed it with this one. So
is the one thing basically like go work on this one thing right now? Is that what it's teaching you, or what's the topic of that?
Yeah, it's focus is basically what it is. It's just focus. You know, you look at a lot of these people that have been very, very successful. They're able to focus on what they're doing and get it completed. And that's really what he's talking about. It's about reducing the distraction, understanding that on average, the psychologists say it takes 66 days to form a new habit. And if you really want a habit that is income producing, you have to do it consistently. So I think that's really the message of that book.
I like that a lot.
There you go.
The only one I've read out of there is Go Giver.
But again, listen, you can get these on Audible and listen to them as you're driving around with BatchDriven getting leads. You can read these at 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night every night or whatever, you know, sometime where you're not reading these things. I don't read books, you know, at 11 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, just sitting here. No, I'm in action. I'm going. When the kids are in bed, everything's settled down. I'll get in, I'll nestle in, I'll get some, I'll go to the brain gym or whatever you want to call it. And I'll start getting to work there. But don't let these distract you from, you know, the 20 hours it'll take you to read all these. You could easily get a deal. I think you could get a deal without a doubt.
So can I ask you guys a question about number 7, which is busy work, creative avoidance?
Yes.
How do we overcome that? How do I avoid that? Right? Like what are some practical steps? Or maybe there's a book that you can suggest. What do you guys think is a great way to avoid creative avoidance?
Do the hardest thing first, right? It's that classic book, Eat That Frog, right? If you have to eat a frog every day, you have to eat it, right? Somebody will steal your children away, or they'll cut off your arm or something if you don't eat a frog. You have to eat a frog every single day. Well, eat it first thing in the morning. Get it done with. Why wait around, right? Why wait around to eat that frog in the afternoon or evening? You know what I mean? So do the hardest things first. That's why I loved doing phone prospecting, cold calling. Some people call it TTP from 9 to noon every day. Right? I got it done. It was the hardest part. And then I just got into a rhythm and it became a habit. And then it was just unstoppable from there. So do the hardest thing first.
Jamil, do you got any advice on that?
Well, you know, it's funny because I had my next little item there, but and you know, and it was a perfect segue from Brent's books, because the last book he said was The One Thing. And one of my mistakes that I feel that people that are brand new in the business make is doing all the things. When you're doing all the things, you're not mastering any of them. And that is a problem, because for you to really succeed, you want to be the best at your craft, whatever that might be. I'll tell you, I have, when I, met some of the world's best at specific things. For instance, Rochelle Jarvis. She's the best transaction coordinator, I think, that exists in the business. And her company, Constant Close, is the best in the business at doing what they do. Now, is Rochelle going to say that she's the best seller converter? No, she's the best transaction coordinator who understands how to deal with those things. She masters her craft and does that, right? When you're doing all the things and when you're trying to do all the things, you're juggling. Right. And we all know that what happens when you juggle. Yeah, it looks pretty when you start. And if you can keep it going for a little while, great. But what truly happens in real life and in practicality in the real world, you drop all the balls. Right. And I have a lot more success throwing one ball up in the air consistently over and over again. Guess how many balls I'll catch in a day throwing one ball over and over again through the entire day up in the air and catching it. I'll catch it 1,000 times and I won't drop it once. But you add 3 balls into that and they're all over the place. I got nothing done. Doing all the things.
Yep.
So that's number 8, doing all the things. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and in wholesaling, it's like, okay, well, I want to do all of these things. I want to door knock, cold call, mail, put together a website, put together a logo, and do them all. I want leads from all of them. That's a huge mistake in the beginning. Focus on one and go deep with it. Get really, really, really good at that, and then build from there. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about like if you have other passions, if you ever other things. I mean, Pace has like what, 20 businesses? How many do you have? 16?
I currently have 16 streams of income.
Right, 16 streams of income. But
each time he was doing the one thing to build the one thing.
That's the thing. And then you hire people to do the roles. You give somebody else your ball and you go, oh, I guess I need to get a new ball. And then you go and you find the ball, right? That's what you're talking about, juggling all these balls. He gives it to somebody else. Now they're throwing it up and he's off and running, finding the next ball. So 16 guys, 16 streams of income. Did you get Robert Allen on yet, your show?
He's coming on in about 3 weeks.
Got it.
I'm currently reading some of his books right now.
Yeah.
And I had to like put one away because he wrote it in 1987.
Yeah.
And I was like, none of this is relevant. And then somebody goes, oh, well, he wrote a revised version of it for the 2000s. I was like, yes. So I'm excited. I'm going back and rereading some of his stuff. The guy is there's so many legends in the business. It's hard to keep track of everybody, but Robert Allen's coming. And then I've got a couple other really, really good heavy hitters. I did just get told that I'm going to be going on the Wolf of Wall Street's podcast here in about a month and a half.
Ooh,
awesome.
So that should be pretty cool. Just about closing and converting sellers and stuff like that. It's an hour-long podcast. So I'm excited about that. But, about that specifically, just closing sellers is, I think that one of the things, I know, Brent, you've got the 3 Ds, which I want to cover, but I kind of want to just add 8.1, which is underneath what Jamil just said, doing all the things. Is that I don't think a lot of people understand their personality. Like I understand people's personalities better than they understand themselves just based on the questions they ask me. I'm like, oh, I know exactly what you're struggling with. And then people go, how do you know? I'm like, I've been in the business long enough. I've had hundreds and hundreds of the same questions. I go, I know exactly where you are in this business based on your exact personality. So I wish that this was unique to every individual, but guys, this is science. This is science. It's not like, and here's what I mean by that. If you understand what you're really good at, you're going to have to do everything, right? At some point, I call it hugging toilets. It's like when I was a contractor, I had to mask the floors. I had to tape. I had to get behind the toilet and feel like I was hugging the toilet. Like I had to do all those things. And that's the equivalent of cold calling and doing a lot of the things. I'm not saying don't do the hard things. Brent's thing of doing the hard thing, eating the frog, I love that. But once you have the ability to scale, double down on what you're really good at. For me, like I look at Luke Rotvold, who used to be on your team. Mm-hmm. What was he amazingly good at?
He's the best cold caller in the country.
Right. Best cold caller. Right. So when I was getting started, I called you and I go, who's the best cold caller in the country? Who'd you connect me with? Luke. Right. Yep. And he did that because he figured out how to make it work for his personality. Right. So what he would do is he would play NFL Madden on whatever console while he's cold calling, because he figured out what allowed him to get into the zone.
He has YouTube, a great YouTube channel, Viking Boys.
He's doing a good job. I was just texting him
Viking
today.
Boys, and he's literally playing Madden as he's cold calling. He still does it. He's made over $3 million cold calling, and it would be probably double, triple that, but he's kept a lot of the properties. He's
Jamil and I just bought a deal from them.
Super Bowls has he won on Madden is what I really want to know.
So Jamil and I just bought a deal.
I don't think the Vikings can win a Super Bowl in any video game, let alone real life. So,
So he but what I liked about that is that he, found the thing in the business that gave him a lot of passion, and he focused his time and energy there, right? So I think understanding who you are, and one place to go. I'm not a big fan of Traction. A lot of people talk about Traction. I feel like Traction, the book, really scatters people. it's too much too fast. That's for like corporate, that's for like Fortune 500 companies. There's some really good stuff inside of Traction, but it's too much for a small business to handle like all these things. So one of the great books that they wrote, same author of Traction, was Rocket Fuel. And so I think understanding which personality type you are so that you understand who to hire first and what to delegate first so you can continue to do that one thing that drives your passion. Like for me, it was put me in the appointment with the seller or get me on the phone. I love it. It gives me, it's like plugging in my energy source, right? So yep. I love that. Doing all the things. I've been a victim of that as well multiple times. And then I wake up in the morning. Last thing, I don't want to go too long on this. For me, here's what's interesting. Cody and I have a weekly meeting every week. It's Sunday. Okay. It's the only time that like we just feel like we can hang out. It's like a hangout session, right? It's usually an hour and a half on Zoom, early enough in the morning that we can still have family days and whatever else. And the main topic of the conversation is, what do we take off our plates? What do we take off our plates? What do we take off our plates? And I continually remind myself that I got so good at certain things that I loved that those things stay on my plate because I enjoy them and I continue to do them, right? So, but everything else goes off my plate. So think about that. What are you doing on a weekly basis that's busy work, right? What are you doing on a week? Like, look at your week. Make a goal. Just, what did you do last week? Without even thinking about it, write down, everybody in the audience, what A items did you do last week and what B items did you do last week? Right? It should be like 90% A items and 10% B items. So write that down, or just think about it as I'm talking to you guys, is what are all the busy work or the creative avoidance? What are all the things you chose to do instead of A items? And I think it's an eye-opening conversation for sure.
And that's the three. I mean, we've covered it. I mean, the 3 Ds are doubt, disappointment, and distraction, right? And we've really throughout this, 61 minutes we've been going, we've really talked about that, and that's really true.
Well, no. We did not get into disappointment. I feel like that might be number 9, like how to overcome or expect disappointment, right? So I'd love to hear from you guys how to overcome or avoid feeling disappointed, and if you do, how do you get out of that?
I know. Go, Jamil.
I'll let you start, Brent.
Okay. I'll warm you up. I'm the warm-up show. Anyway, listen, disappointment. I think you should be disappointed. I think disappointment gives us a lot of juice. I think disappointment lets us understand that we're actually going after something exciting, that we're actually putting in the effort. If we're disappointed because of something that happened along the way, that's showing that we're making progress. I mean, that is so absolutely incredible. Whenever I get texts from the TTP family, and they're kind of down, or they're kind of frustrated, or they're disappointed, I get pumped because they're doing the work. Right? If they're disappointed because they're confused about something, or they're disappointed because they're procrastinating, that's different. And that's very rare. They're disappointed because a deal fell out that they thought was going to go through. They're disappointed because they had this lead, but somebody came in at the last minute. The family member had it, and they swooped in and they got that deal. They're disappointed. They had the juiciest, greatest deal ever, and now the seller is ghosting them. Right? They're disappointed in all that, but all of that is great. All of that is energy. All of that is flowing and just building up. Their train is going faster down the tracks because they are actually taking action. So to be truly disappointed is when you're going for something that you want and you can't get it right now. And that is great. I love disappointment. Disappointment is right. If you harness disappointment to fuel you up for the other side, I mean, there's so much benefits to it. I mean, the problem is we try to avoid disappointment all the time so we don't take action. If we're taking action, getting disappointed, you're on the right path. You're on the right path. Jamil?
Love that, Brent. I think, I'm going to just add to that because I 100% believe in that. I think it's a great sign. When you're disappointed, you're definitely doing the work. And it just didn't work out for you this time, right? That's it. I think a part of this, though, is we are so attached to results, right? That we're so attached to results that we believe that we're entitled to them, and you're never entitled to it. You're never
Dang,
entitled
I
to the
love
result,
that.
right?
That's really good.
Yeah.
You are entitled to the work. You are entitled to the work. That's it. That's all we've been given. We've been given an opportunity to work. The result is the result. That's it. And it's like the hardest thing for us to like stop, but like we're not in control of the result, because I'm not in control of the family member coming in and swooping the deal. I'm not in control of the title problem showing up and killing the deal. I'm not in control of the seller dying 2 days before we're closing and now it has to go to probate and become a thing. I'm not in control of the universe, but I'm in control of my work. I'm in control of my work. And so I have to be disappointed in one of two things. Did I do the work? Yes or no? Yes, I have no right to be disappointed. No, I am disappointed. That's it.
Crush it. I'm going to put this on my desk. I am in control of my work. I love that. I love that. Pace?
Yeah. The entitlement thing, I really like that, Jamil, on the disappointment thing. Like you're entitled to certain things.
You are not entitled to the result.
Did anybody see my Instagram video I did this morning about when I pay my virtual assistants versus when I pay my American employees?
Tell us.
Yeah, I saw that TikTok.
Did you laugh at it or no?
I laughed my butt off.
So what I was thinking about is like the entitlement, right? And we're the same way. It's not just an employee thing. I think it's an American thing. Like we've been so spoiled with, I can drive down to Whole Foods in my Tesla. I don't even have to put gas in my car anymore, right? It's like all these things that our lives are so perfect. Food gets delivered to us, right? I can go on GoPuff, which I didn't even know about GoPuff until about a month ago. Now I'm like, oh, I need a case of water. I'll pay for the delivery fee. I don't want to even get in my car, right? Like all these things. Like think about how perfect our lives are. And so we have this weird entitlement thing, like things should be just as easy as that, right? So we feel entitled to an outcome when we put in any amount of work. I freaking love that. You're not entitled to the outcome. You're entitled to the work. I freaking love that, Jamil. That's really good. That might be the first tattoo I put on this body, dog.
Yeah,
really
we'll
good.
get it together. Why don't we get the tattoo together? We'll get it on our necks.
Yeah. I really do
On your
like that. I
A&E
think
show. You could do it on your A&E show. That'll be great.
it's definitely an entitlement thing. I think we all struggle with this. Like our lives are so easy. Everything is technology is there only to make our lives more easy and fun, easy and fun, easy and fun. And so when you have to step outside of what 99% of your life is, easy and fun, you feel entitled to like, well, I put in 1 hour worth of work today. I got a paycheck. Because let's be real, most people that are at 9 to 5s aren't putting in 8 hours worth of solid work. You're just not. Probably put in a good solid 2 hours worth of dedicated work per day. Let's be honest. There's people in the chat. They're going to be like, no, I work. Okay. You should be a business owner, because if you're working that hard for somebody else, you should work for yourself. But there's most people that I know will admit like, yeah, I really only put in about an hour to 2 hours worth of work a night. Now, when you're cold calling, going back to Brent Daniels, when you were doing Super Saturday, how many hours were you dedicated to cold calling on a Saturday?
Yeah, we'd go 6 hours.
6 hours on a Saturday. And this is why you call it Super Saturday, right? So yeah, of course you're networking, you're multifaceted, but you weren't entitled to anything. You were entitled to the opportunity to now work on the weekend and say, I'm grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful for this business I figured out. I'm grateful for all of these things. And I freaking love that, Jamil. I think that's my number one for the night. You're not entitled to the outcome. You're entitled to the work.
Telling you.
So good, dude. So good. So let me recap everything. Okay. Cause we haven't done number 10 yet, but I'm going to recap this. Okay. And guys, while I'm reading these 9 that we've gone over, everybody in the comments, I want you guys to do me a favor. Tell me, number 1, what's the favorite one so far? What's the biggest golden nugget you've gotten so far tonight? And then the second thing I want you to do is tell us what are some issues that you're dealing with that we might not have covered yet. Okay. I want to kind of see from the whole community, what are you guys struggling with? So number 1, fear, right? And the way to overcome fear is constant action. Be grateful. It's the roller coaster effect. Understand that the only way to get the elation of a roller coaster is to go through that first tick, 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 all the way to the top. Number 2 is it's pain, not the price. People are focusing on the price. They're making that mistake. Number 3, I actually wrote down that we didn't really touch on, but it was not enough leads and they get one-itis. Okay. What I mean by that is like they focus on just one lead. They get one lead in their thing and they just focus on that one thing. That was number 3. We didn't really deep dive on that. Number 4 is it's not you, it's them. I really like that, Jamil. PPP, that's not a government loan, guys. That's paralysis, perfectionism, and
Procrastination.
Number 6, lack in belief in the model or themselves. I love that so much because there's been times in my life that I've gone out to get a job when I was younger where I didn't really care about the model. I just needed a paycheck. Right? Whatever it was I was doing, is just like, I don't care. I'll sell whatever. I'll sell. You want me to sell solar? I'll sell solar. Oh, I don't believe in solar. Second, I didn't believe in the model. I had a really hard time selling that product. It doesn't vibe with me, right? I couldn't be my authentic self. So I really love that one. Number 7, busy work and creative avoidance. Number 8, trying to do all the things. And then number 9, the 3 Ds, which are doubt, disappointment, and what else?
Distraction.
So I love these. These are so good. I think that I have stories with people I run into at meetups and people that DM me all the time that are basically struggling with all 9 of these things. And I feel like, guys, do me a favor, because this, I look at both Jamil and Brent as, guys on my board of advisors, guys that I trust and guys that I go to when I need advice. They're guys at a higher level than me. I'm very lucky to know them. I love these guys. Did we deep dive on these topics well enough? Like, did we give you guys not only the topic, but also the way to overcome them? Because I don't know if people noticed, I was stopping you guys and making sure you were answering that of, okay, well, how do I overcome that? And I took down notes. Because there's things that I can't articulate to people as easily as you guys just articulated on this. This was so good. By the way, Frank Schools says, this is my first time here and I'm loving it. So
welcome, Frank.
Okay. So this is a lot of really good comments, guys. Awareness is power. I so needed to hear this.
Something that I think is really interesting too, Pace. Look at all these comments. It's all coming from YouTube. You know what I mean? Which is incredible. Guys, we each have a YouTube channel created specifically to just answer a lot of questions, put out a lot of really good instruction, show you examples, give you the juice every single day. We each have something popping off of our YouTube channel. Make sure that you're subscribed to all of them if you're not already, and make sure if you're driving around and you want to listen to this just as an audio, make sure that you get in to the iTunes or Spotify and listen to the podcast. We turn all these into podcasts. Make sure that you get those. We'd love a review. We'd love a like or whatever it is. Is it a like? I don't know what it is. A review, I guess. And that would be incredible. So yeah,
I love it.
Are your guys' YouTube channels just youtube.com/PaceMorby/Brent Daniels? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I think if they just search it, they'll find us.
Mine's youtube.com/PaceMorby. Okay. By the way, I got my first paycheck from YouTube this week.
Nice.
I gave it to one of my team members as a bonus.
It's awesome.
I'm rich. It's $1,300. I'm rich.
Woo-wee.
I know.
Is that one of the 16 forms of income, or did you just add the 17th?
That must be my 17th. I've never received a check from YouTube. Never
Ring
received
the bell
a check
for
from
him
YouTube.
there, Brent.
Huh?
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
What's funny? So, I've got a couple more things. We might go past the 10, but I've got a couple more things that I've learned from Brent actually. But one of the things is I saw that I was making that $1,300. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And I just picked somebody on my team. I was like, you're doing a great job. Here's a bonus. Right. And so I told Cody, I was like, hey, just FYI, I paid so-and-so a bonus. He's like, you didn't pay yourself first? And I was like, no. And he goes, Brent Daniels would be super disappointed in you right now.
Listen, it just depends on, where you're taking your income from. So I don't mind that at all. My, any income that I make from YouTube or whatever else goes straight to my team, straight to equipment, straight to all that. So, that's something that I actually learned from Max Maxwell. He was like growing his channel and building it, and he would use the funds from that to pay to expand it, which is great. Anyway,
so I've got a number 10. You guys might have some more, but I've got a number 10. I think this is one that's probably the biggest one that I see. Okay. Something to avoid, something to double check. We've got 350 plus people watching all day today. So thank you guys so much. Please make sure you guys go to iTunes and Spotify. Give us a good review. It is so hard to get a podcast rated high. There's so many podcasts. So if we're getting value, please leave us a good review. Do us that favor. We've got 350 people. I would love to get 50 reviews tonight. Okay. Maybe we can give them, when you guys answer what I'm about to say, maybe I'll pull the link and share it with everybody. But number 10 is learning from the wrong people.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to tell a little story really, really quick, 30 seconds or less. I remember I actually unfollowed this guy on Instagram because he teaches how to lock up sellers. He teaches this, has full seminars and has full masterminds on how to do this. The mastermind is about how to lock up a seller at too high of a price, wait until the final hour and renegotiate the day of close of escrow.
Ugh.
You guys might even remember this guy's name. I haven't seen him around, but I also blocked him on basically everything. So I just learning from people that, and this goes back to lack of belief in the model. Okay. If you're learning from people that are not teaching how to be professional and handle these customers, our sellers, properly, you're going to have a really short life in this business. You have to understand, you have to come from a place of ethics, and then you have to learn from people who are actually doing the business. And what I would do is I would verify. Okay. I buy deals from Brent.
Yeah.
I can verify that Brent does a lot of deals. Okay. I buy deals from Brent's students. I can verify Brent's students and everybody works. Same thing with Jamil. Jamil and I work and do deals together. I've made millions of dollars with Jamil, and I travel around the country and I hear the same thing. And I get to buy deals from Jamil, et cetera. And I'm constantly competing with Jamil's team on deals around the state. Okay. I know that when I ask these guys questions, I'm getting answers from people who are actually in the business and they're operating at a high level. So it doesn't matter. I'm not talking about coaching. I'm not talking about mentorships. I'm not talking about all that stuff. But when you're learning from people, learn from the correct people. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I 100% agree. Actually, can I have a 10.1?
Yes. I actually wrote down a number 11 because I knew one of you guys were going to have another thing, but that sounds like you have a tie into this one.
I have a tie into it because I think that when you're learning from the wrong people, you learn how to value property wrong, and you learn how, and when you learn how to value property wrong, your foundation as a wholesaler is broken.
Yep.
Right? Or you use the wrong offer formula. If look, again, if you're out there and you're learning it, you've heard from a teacher, like your wholesale offer should be, 0.7 minus repairs, minus your desired wholesale fee. You won't do deals. I'm telling you, you won't do deals. If you don't understand the metrics of your area and know the highest that you can offer a seller or where something should trade at, you'll not do deals because you're not going to be offering the right amount, or you have no idea what stuff is worth. And so I think that if you're learning from the wrong people, that's what happens.
Well, and I think, as a 10.2, and it's something that you guys have done a fantastic job, and I think that we've done it, is if you're going to get advice, look for the successful people that also took that advice. Like, I think that there is a very, very old school very gross mentality that if I am very successful and wealthy, I can teach you to be successful and wealthy. That is so like 1980s infomercial bullshit. All right.
Yeah.
They don't know how to coach. They don't know the systems. They don't know the procedures. Look for the testimonials of the people and the people surrounding them that are successful because of the advice that they got. And this is national, or this is just local stuff, even local in your own town. If somebody drives up in a great car, but they're not giving value to anybody, but you want to be around them, that's just fanboy bullshit. That's just fanboy. Stop doing that. It's gross. You're not going to win. You're going to spend a lot of money. You're going to waste a lot of money, and you're going to lose because the instruction is just made to educate you, which you're already getting educated. It's not giving you the instruction that you need to be successful. So if you want to be surrounded by people and learn from people, make sure that those people have people that are successful. How about that? How about we start there? I mean, I could go on a whole rant about this thing.
Actually, let me go on a rant real quick because I want to highlight a couple of things. For all of you guys that don't know, we all know Brent Daniels has one of the best podcasts of all time where he highlights other people, primarily other people. In fact, bro, I owe you so much. Brent, because a lot of the wholesalers that have learned TTP from you, I buy deals from them.
Right.
Okay. So I know how successful that team, your program is. Now, you also have a podcast that highlights those people.
Yep.
Right. Where you bring just you're not bringing just all the hundreds and hundreds of people that are just doing onesie twosie stuff. Yes, you're bringing some of those as well, but you're highlighting some pretty amazing people that are doing $100,000 a month or more by learning your program. Now, for those of you of them who have not seen it, is that on your YouTube primarily, or where can I find it?
It's on YouTube. Podcast? Absolutely. It's at a Wholesaling Inc. podcast as well. But the YouTube channel, you get a better feel because you can see them. It's cool.
Okay. So then Jamil, for those of you that don't know, has a dope ass podcast that just came out. It's called To the Moon. It's phenomenal. And from my understanding, Jamil, you're only highlighting student success stories from the Astro Flipping program. Is that correct?
Yes. Successes, anxieties, heartburn, all of it, right? It's of course there's success, but it would be a total waste of time if we didn't hear about all the times they stubbed their toe on their way to their checks.
Right.
Yep.
How many times
real life
did the spaceship explode on its way to the moon? It happens.
A lot of people don't know this because I don't talk about it, but I've gotten like 50,000 views on my podcast. I have another podcast that I never talk about. It's called Get Creative. It's a 30-minute podcast. Amazing. It's so good. I just recorded 3 episodes on Saturday. I have so many episodes. What I did is I was like, this is it's the opposite of a pace podcast. It's 25 minutes. Some of them lead into like 28. It's not me talking. It's me promoting a student and getting people to say, I say, reach out to this person because they can help you in their local area. I have a student Saturday making $150,000 a month. He's overwhelmed. He's making so much money. Another student, okay, he learned creative finance from a guy 15 years ago, and he was hesitant to jump into my program. He jumps into the program, and he's like, bro, in 3 months, I was able to quit my job. The things you taught, just the way you speak, all that kind of stuff. Go watch those podcasts. It's called Get Creative Podcast. Do you guys remember April Giuliano? Do you guys know that name?
I love her and Mark. They're amazing people.
Bro, they were homeless this time last year.
And then they're in a mansion.
Now they're in a sub-2 mansion on the freaking water. She's got one deal going right now. She's going to make $550,000 on one deal.
Amazing.
A creative finance deal, contract for deed that anyway, it's a long story, but guys, go watch these individual podcasts. Mine's very short. I think Jamil's is relatively short, and I know Brent's is short because I've been on it. They're very easy to digest. And then it also gives you other opportunities to go and squat up with other people that are doing other deals, right? And getting to hear their story. So, by the way, while we were searching or talking about this, I gave you guys the iTunes link. So please, for Wholesale Hotline guys, if you're getting value, 350 people have been watching basically this whole show. Do us a favor. Like we don't get anything from this other than edification. We get happiness. I get to hang out with my brothers every single week. Please give us a shout out. Please give us a review. It does help us out a lot. Here's how it helps you. If you leave a review, more people find the show. More people find the show. You have more people to squad up with in the comments.
That's right.
Community grows. Right. More and more people get value. And if you've gotten value, don't freaking hoard it. You got to share it. Do either one of you guys have a number 11, anything that's burning in your chest that you got to say a number 11, a bonus item? Because we've gone through 10. Does either one of you guys have a bonus item?
Squad up.
I agree. I would, when I was writing this out, I was debating whether to write number 10 as being an island. I've heard Jamil talk about this all the time, and stop being an island.
Yep.
What do you guys have to say about that?
100%. That's why this show exists. It's why we work together. Three people that compete for deals in the same market, right? How are we the best of buddies? How does that work? I see these in my my ads, and the comments on my ads. Why would you ever share with anybody how you make money, you dummy? Right? They write this in the ad, right? And I think to myself, how sad for you that nobody in your life showed you that you both can win. That nobody ever saw you looking at them eating their apple and said, "Want a bite?" That, you know what I mean? That's sad. And that's where that comes from. That's that energy. That energy is, I've never had someone share with me. I've never enjoyed the joy of sharing and winning together. And that's why it's so foreign to me. And I don't think those people are angry or bad people. I think that they just haven't experienced how joyful it is to, not be on an island.
Love it. And I think get to it as fast as you can. Cross that bridge from faith to fact as fast as you can. And the number one way to do that is answer this question every single day. Did I have enough quality conversations with distressed property owners to hit my financial goal? You answer that question every day, every week, every month. You win. You're going to win. You're going to find a way. Your mental antennas are going to visualize it. They're going to see it. You're going to see opportunities. You're going to see the right people in your life. You're going to connect. But it starts with making sure that you're taking action and you cross that bridge as fast as possible so that you get your family on board, so that you get your own mind on board, so that you feel better. You know what I mean? So that you don't feel, all the 3 Ps and the 3 Ds dragging you down, or creative avoidance dragging you down. Get to that point where you are having consistent quality conversations with distressed property owners. That if you just do that, you will win. You will win fast. Just do that. All the other stuff is just distraction. I'm telling you, have those conversations. There's ugly houses out there. Get the phone number, call them, ask them if they would consider an offer, and your life will change forever. Your life will change forever. You start there, you build up the confidence, you start networking, you start squatting up, you start doing some creative stuff, you start having a team that you build because you're making income, you're replacing your income with your current job, you're able to go to this business full time. Then you get and you start doing all the creative stuff and building a portfolio and really letting real estate unfold and blossom in your life. But it starts with that. Did I have enough quality conversations with distressed property owners to hit my financial goals? I wish I could shorten that down, guys. I've tried like a million times. I'm trying to do that simpler, but I have to get it all in there. I apologize, but that's what it comes down to.
I think about this frequently. How is it any different in any other business? Let's say I'm an air conditioning repair guy.
It's the same. It's business. It's business.
Right. I got to have quality conversations with people who have broken air conditioning units or whatever. Right. Like here's the unique thing about our business model though. Right. Is that I could reach out to a guy like Jamil 5 years ago and go, "Hey bro, I've been in the business for a bit. I need some help, whatever." And he replies because it's one of these only the type of business that we can do deals together. we can all win together. I'm so grateful I'm not in air conditioning repair, because only one guy can fix that air conditioning unit. You know, we're so very lucky that we have all these podcasts, and you bring up Sean Terry, you bring up Max Maxwell. I saw somebody bring up Jerry Norton, a good friend of the show. We're so blessed to have all these people willing to share the information, because the right people want to do more deals, and the right people want to see you guys doing more deals. Right. Yep. And that goes back to the gratitude part of, being in this business and what we talked about.
Love it.
What a bunch of great freaking comments today. Have you guys been watching this?
Oh, yeah. Incredible. Great show. Great show.
So good, guys. Thank you for the comments.
Love it.
I think right here, submitted a review on the Apple podcast a couple of weeks ago. Thank you so much, Guillermo. For anybody else that feels compelled to do the podcast review, I'm going to give you guys the iTunes one right now. So please look in the side chat. And then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to give you Wholesale Hotline's link to Spotify. So if you guys are Spotify users instead of iTunes, I will share this with you guys and give you guys the ability to go and do a review there. It just kind of depends on where you listen to stuff. I listen to most of my stuff on Audible, even my podcast. I listen on Audible. So wherever you listen to odd podcasts, please give us some love. Give us some good reviews there.
And join us this week. We go live. Jamil is on Thursday. Are you doing it on your own channel now?
I am. I'm starting March 17th. I'll be adding another. So I'm not stopping with Ty. I'm going to continue to do the show with Ty every Thursday, but every Wednesday now as well at 2 p.m. because I believe so much in this, in fixing people's capacity to understand value. It's the reason why I see people failing. It's the reason why I see people quitting is they get out there, they do the work, they cold call, they TTP, they buy a list, they drive for dollars, they batch driven, they do it all. But then they get it wrong in value. Yep. And then they get the disappointment, and then they quit. And I just want to stop that. I just want to be able to be there to do that. So every Wednesday, 2 p.m., starting March 17th on my YouTube channel, it's Straight Outta Compton.
Love it. Straight Outta Compton. I am live every Wednesday, 10 o'clock Arizona time. 10 o'clock Arizona time. We go for 2 hours answering questions. And the first 15, 20 minutes is straight coaching, straight information that you need to implement into your business. And then we open it up and we bring on fantastic people onto the show during at the top of the hour. So it's really an incredible opportunity to get some questions answered and to get the knowledge that you need to implement into your business right now. And Pace every Sunday goes bananas with his Sunday service. You want to tell them?
Guys, Sunday service, it's not religious. I do have people that are like, I'm not, I see people's comments when I make the post. They're like, oh, I already went to church. Guys, I'm going to take you to a different type of church, Creative Finance Church. We talk about deals. Last week, we did a whole case study. Actually, it was a deal I bought from one of your TTP students. Locked up a deal, seller finance, turning into an Airbnb. I walked through the deed of trust, the second deed of trust. I showed you who my private lender was. Like I hold nothing back on Sunday service. And I show people all the things, the address, the settlement statement, everything. We open it all up and we show you guys how that business works, and really deep dive for an hour and a half every Sunday at 7 p.m. Arizona time. But man, this was a good episode for me too. I wrote down a couple books. Jamil, you gave me a golden nugget that I'm going to use multiple times. So I appreciate both of you guys so much, and I can't wait till next week.
Thank you, Pace. Thank you, Pace, for the multiple camera angles as well today, bro. I got to step it up, bro. I got to I feel like you're in a three camera show here, and I'm just using my Apple.
We're just slobs. Yeah, we're just messing around.
I thought I leveled up when I got a microphone now, and now I need multiple camera angles.
You do sound really good though, dude.
I sound like butter.
Yeah.
Love you guys. I'll see you guys next week.
We'll see y'all next week. Wholesale Hotline.
Later.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.